How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the Stupid Questions podcast. Today in the pod, we're going to be talking with Oliver Askew. He is a race car driver who has participated in the sports of Formula E, IndyCar racing, kart racing, and a number of other things. Really awesome guy. Great getting to connect with him and hear his story a little bit. And this is a new type of an episode because it's a different sport that I have not been able to interview someone from in the past. So very excited for him to have sent out with me and given me the opportunity to get to know him a little bit. If you are here listening to the podcast, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Make sure to check out the show notes. Episode 200 is coming up. So if you want to throw in some ideas in the show notes, there is a link where you can submit your ideas there. Make sure to check out all of Oliver's stuff there that I will link from his website to his Instagram. And I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate the opportunity to do this. And so without further ado, I want to introduce you to Oliver Askew. Oliver, thank you so much for jumping on, man. Really appreciate the time. I would say you are a new type of guest for me, so I am really looking forward to this interaction, getting to know your story. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the Humble podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. When you sent the invite, I did some research and listened to a few episodes, and I have to say they're a great listen, easy listen, and you're doing a good job. So,
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What episodes did you listen to, or part of?
The one of Luke.
Luke Fetzer?
Luke Fetzer.
Yeah. So you know Luke from riding, I guess?
I just met him a few weeks ago at the track. Both him and Lucas were going.
Nice.
So they are planning to have a cycling. I don't know how much I can talk about, but they're having a cycling event at the track.
Oh, sick.
At the Concourse Club in Miami, and so they're just coming out to check it out and see what they can make happen. So I'm a big cycling fan. It's I'd say it's the number one sport that I follow, European cycling. So and I also follow the crit scene in the U.S. So it was really cool for me to meet those guys.
Oh, that's cool. How did you guys get connected, if you don't mind me asking?
Through a mutual friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Sweet. Well, I'll try not to ask too many questions around the cycling event, but look forward to seeing what's coming down the pike. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So I guess first question that I just want to open up with, it's a pretty deep one. I don't know if you heard me ask this to other people before or not, but the question is, according to Oliver, who is Oliver?
Oh boy. Heavy hitter right off the bat.
Yeah.
I'd say that I am your quintessential adrenaline junkie. Mm-hmm. I'm introverted, but can also turn it on and off. I love to experience new things, anything that pushes my body as an athlete. Even after I haven't raced in a few years, I'm still looking for that fix. Whether if it's from cycling, surfing, training, running, I love all those things. Just enjoying new experiences.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So when you said you can turn the introvert versus the extrovert side off, has that always been the case? And have you leaned more one way or the other as you've gotten older?
I'd say I'm beginning to open up. Well, not beginning. I have been, through my early 20s as well. As a youngster, I was very sheltered and quiet and stuck in my shell. I think that's common for most people. I was homeschooled in high school, so that maybe it has something to do with it.
Yeah, unpack that for me. What do you believe about homeschoolers, and what is true, what is not true?
It's very situational. My homeschooling was all virtual. Mm-hmm. So all of my classes and my teachers were virtual. At the same time, I was spending every weekend racing go-karts. And so that was my school of hard knocks. And, my childhood was, being around those people and those friends I still have to this day. But it's a difficult one. I think the social aspect of school is extremely important. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I found that through racing. Karting, if you don't have that growing up, I think it can become an issue later on in life. So, but yeah, it's very situational, I'd say.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? What part of the U.S.?
Jupiter, Florida, where I am now, and
nice.
Back here. So yeah.
So you must
family, just the four of us, my parents and my sister.
Nice.
And
Nice. Would you do it again from growing up living in Florida? Are you sold on Florida? Do you like it?
I do, but I'm not afraid to venture out and experience new cultures.
Yeah.
My mom's Swedish, and
Okay.
so we try to visit Sweden, the south of Sweden, where a lot of my extended family lives.
Ah, cool.
And yeah, I would love to live somewhere different in the future. I did spend some time in Indianapolis as well while I was racing IndyCar. So
Yeah.
um, probably want to end up back here later in my life because it's paradise. You know, I've
Hmm.
experienced a lot of different cultures and I've traveled all over the world, and I always love coming home, and I can really appreciate
Mm.
where I come from
Yeah.
when I see different places. So
Yeah. So obviously, what you do is a pretty big piece of who you are, and finding your path forward. But I'd be curious to know a little bit of the background and story for, how did you even get involved with karting? Before that, was there anything else? When did it become your first, or I guess like your love or the thing that you wanted to push for? Give me some of that context and background.
yeah, so it started when I was 7 years old. It was just a father-son hobby. We had a Ford Excursion that we threw the go-kart in the back of, and that was just our
Yeah.
weekend hobby. I was so young, I didn't know what it meant to build a career or build a job.
Yeah.
Uh, I was just having fun, and I think my dad was doing the same. It wasn't until I was 13 or 14 when it started to become serious. I picked up some sponsors, began to travel a lot more, winning races,
Yeah.
and that's when I started to think, okay, this could be something.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's been my whole life. I've
Yeah.
been surrounded by motorsport my whole life, yeah. But it doesn't
Yeah.
run in the family. My dad was an air traffic controller. He's been retired now for almost 10 years.
Oh,
But
wow.
he spent 30 years there working for the government and the FAA, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was sort of his way to escape as well, just being at the track with me. So
Mm.
yeah.
So, or I was going to say cycling. Sorry, not cycling, racing, like karting and stuff like that. Was that a big passion of his? I guess from even before he kind of introduced you to it, or is it a thing that you think that he was like, oh, maybe I see a future for my kid in this, or like how did it grow and become to what it is or became?
Yeah, he he is extremely supportive. Both of my parents are.
Hmm.
And so when I gravitated towards that lifestyle and that sport, I mean, they were fully behind me.
Yeah.
And I think they appreciated the family like atmosphere. And I think I heard Luke speak about that as well. Going to the bike shop and being around those people all the time. I think they gravitated towards that as well. So
Mm.
yeah.
That's awesome. So,
Mhm.
does anyone in your family do any sort of racing other than you?
Nobody.
Yeah.
No, which isn't
Interesting.
common. I mean,
Yeah.
racing in itself is not a common or an easy sport to fall into.
Yeah.
And so most people, most kids, they grow up, after their family or their father
Hmm.
in motorsport or having something to do with motorsport, whether it's, engineering, mechanic,
Yeah.
etc. And so yeah, it was, and that's been my life to a T. It's like I don't tend to follow the typical path, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, I wouldn't change anything about that.
Yeah. Do you like you don't follow the typical path you're saying? Is that something that like are you proud of that? Like is that the way that you typically operate? Just like, oh, whatever's kind of in front of me, I'll kind of go with it, or are you a little more calculated?
I would say that
It's not a great question now that I'm thinking about it.
looking back at my life and how it's unfolded, I tend to go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to become more calculated with what I do now
Hmm.
that I'm in my later 20s. Um, yeah, but I think until now in my teens and my early 20s, I was going with the flow, and um, it brought me to the pinnacle of motorsport.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't change anything about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said like, usually it's uncommon for it to be, you don't have your father or somebody who has done this type of a thing. Knowing that now and knowing where you want to go in the future, is it something that you will be interested in passing down to your children someday, assuming you want children?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely do. Yeah, I think God has a plan for each of us. and I think, you just have to, I find that a lot of who you surround yourself with as well plays a big role in who you become in the future. So I think that's the number one aspect of life that I would like to pass on, is like definitely try to make sure you surround yourself with the right people and people who
Mm.
you want to become. I think that's extremely important. Um, and I think something that, I mean, I'm no parent, right? I haven't experienced that, but that's
True.
definitely something that I would like to, you know, push on other people as well. It's just critical.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
For that life lesson, like it's one thing to kind of know that and believe that, but another thing to experience it, to kind of solidify that belief. So do you have any stories for situations where, you feel like you chose the right friends, or you had to let certain friends, quote unquote friends, go because of just the way they were influencing you?
I think I generally tend to gravitate towards people who are doing great things. That's that's been common for me throughout my life. Those who are off the beaten path
Mm.
as well, making a name for themselves in different industries. My best friend is now a president of he's a year younger than me, and he's a president of a fuel startup company who has a terminal in
Oh,
Tampa.
cool.
It's very, very high performing individuals, and people people who I tend to think are doing a better job than me, which really pushes me to become
Mm.
a better person in myself. So
Mm.
yeah.
So what are some of the like biggest inner critic voices that you have about yourself?
Oof, that's a good one. Well, one, I think it's good to have an inner critic. I definitely do. Um, if not, then you don't. I find that it's a blessing to have that inner critic, because it's constantly pushing you to wake up every day and become or do things, make sure that you're better than the day before. I had an old manager that would constantly text me every single day and ask me the same question. Okay, what did you do today that was better than the previous?
Mm.
Yeah, and it takes small steps, you know, whether it's running an extra mile or spending more time studying or whatever it is that you're doing in your life. I think it's in the end it pays off. Yeah.
Mm. Do you think that it could ever become something where it wasn't healthy, the inner critic?
Yes, definitely. I've always put a lot of pressure on myself, sometimes to a fault.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I think there's a fine balance. Yeah, it's a good question.
Mm.
Um, through so my last race in motorsport was in 2022 in Formula E. And I think through my last couple of races, I'm not retired by any means. I will race again. I just don't know in what capacity.
Yeah.
Um, but I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I think it started to burn me out. The overthinking. I'm very self-critical, and maybe a control freak as well, wanting to make sure that everything's perfect, visualizing my races and performance all the time. So yeah, I think there can be a fault to that. And my best performances looking back, I was in a flow state
Hmm.
and letting everything just come to me naturally.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about racing and the best feeling in racing. And I can imagine it's the same for the guys in cycling or any
I
other
would say even
sport.
musicians. Yeah.
Yes, any other sport or high performing industry. Um, the best feeling is when you can just let your experience take over.
Mm.
And it's like time becomes slow.
Yeah.
And the race finishes and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's such a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, like that topic of flow state, because I feel like it's kind of been a buzzword or buzz phrase or buzz topic for a little while, but I don't know if that many people have truly experienced it. When I have truly experienced it, it has been usually in like a music performance to some degree, like playing piano and singing or doing something that could be considered hard. But then it's whenever, at least for me, whenever I let the fear settle in to where like I start hyper analyzing the small details, that like you start to focus on one thing and then you lose sight of kind of the bigger picture of what's going on. And I can only imagine for your type of profession, going very fast, lots of data coming in to your field of view very quickly, you're hearing, smelling, all these different things, and then how to kind of shut that off to just be in the zone, like you're saying, like in that flow state, is there something that somebody can do to learn how to first find that, like figure out what that is, and then to be able to, okay, so well, whenever this light turns off and the race starts, I want to make sure that I'm there in that moment the whole time.
Yes, it's a muscle that you have to train within your mind. And for me, everyone has their little quirks and niches and how to find that. But for me, it was just something as simple as just squeezing the wheel once, and that kind of brought me back to focusing on the task at hand. I tended to struggle on that side of things on tracks with long straightaways, or like straight line portions of the track where you're not doing anything, you're full throttle, maybe checking the gauges, checking your mirrors, but you have time to think. And that's when my mind could wander. And so squeezing the wheel and bring, it's like a swing thought basically. And golf, those guys have typically have a swing thought, to get them out of the emotions of being where they are and just to lock in on their swing. It's the same thing. There's so many parallels between golf and motorsport. Yeah.
So who are some of the mentors or people that you've gotten to know within, it can be within your industry or outside of your industry, but that serve you in that capacity to like learn how to be, the best version you could be on and off the track? Like, well, who are those people and why are they your people?
Yeah, so many. I wouldn't say there has been one, but I tend to find good relationships with people within my team. And it's important to form those relationships outside of the track, so when you're in the moment, those people have your back, and, maybe you're off daydreaming or having a bad day, those people
Point
you back down the right path. And I can't point to one person, to be honest, that has been my mentor over the last 20 years in motorsport. But there's been so many people, and people that I've looked up to as well, who have made it and who have stayed at the top. I might not have a relationship with those people, but I know how they work and maybe sat beside them. And I'm very analytical and interested to see how they go about things in the sport. So I'm a sponge in that way.
Yeah. So with your upbringing, I'm curious to know, because your dad was air traffic controller. Your mom, I'm not sure what she did. What did she do?
So she didn't work for a long time. Okay. And now she's working in a real estate investment office. Cool. A Swedish family, a very close family to ours. So cool. She struggled with lupus her whole life, and now she is into remission, I believe, which has been fantastic for us and her. But I think finding that purpose within a work environment has also helped her as well. So
yeah, that's crazy. Okay, well, we'll talk about that here in a moment, because I do want to ask some questions about that. Yeah. So your mom being a good mom, it sounds like, your dad having the skills that he has.
I'm super lucky. Yeah.
So you have these parents that have, in a lot of ways, given you pieces of nature and nurture to kind of bring you to where you are today. Like we said, they don't have any background in high performance motorsports. But I'm curious to know, what are some of the characteristics that you feel like you got from your mom and dad that serve you well in your profession?
Yeah, that's an easy one on my dad's side. I mean, he's just so calm with everything that he does, and I think that has served me well in life and my career. I'm not sure if he grew up that way, but say, maybe in his work environment as an air traffic controller, he can't have any sort of emotions, and he's very even keel. So maybe that kind of turned him into that person, and that's definitely transferred over to everything that I've done. I am emotional, but I tend to keep them to myself, right? I don't raise my voice. I don't get too angry or too happy on the other side as well. And I think that's important in any kind of sport. Whereas even in motorsport, the emotions can be so up and down all the time. Most of the races you're not winning. And maybe it's second or third, but it's not, it's a very competitive sport. So to be dominating is very rare. And if you're not winning, it's a bad day. So to keep those emotions in check has been critical to my success. And I think that transfers off the track as well. And my mom, she's a gem. She's extremely strong. To have been dealing with the lupus her whole life. I think I'm very, very lucky. I know that I'm very lucky to have them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Who do you think that you're more like, your mom or your dad?
I look just like my mom.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
I'm a carbon copy of my mom. Who am I more like? I'm a combination between the two. Yeah, I couldn't pick one or the other.
Yeah, that's amazing. So did she struggle with that like all through your growing up?
I think she was diagnosed right after she had me.
Okay.
What was she, 25 maybe?
Yeah.
Around then? Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe even earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. When you found out about that, I guess you were obviously very young, but as you got older, did you notice just the way that it affected the dynamic in the household? Like, was it a pretty big thing where you guys talked about it a lot, had to focus on it, change plans, do different things for that?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, she's extremely strong, and she kept it under wraps for a long time, and it's been so common for us in the household. I guess I haven't seen a difference until lately.
Mm-hmm.
She's on a different medicine, and finally she's now tan for the first time
Awesome.
I've ever seen her, because now she's able to be outside
Amazing.
and the sun. So lupus, I don't know how it works, but the sun can definitely trigger inflammation in the body for people who have lupus, and she was struggling to be at the racetrack. I remember, having to be under the tent, and her joints and skin would flare up on occasion. So, but that hasn't happened in a while. So I'm so happy for her. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So going forward a little bit, like going more up to modern day, I guess I would love to know what you felt in the first instances where you realized like, oh, you're going to get to go race at the pinnacle of racing, like Formula E. That's pretty prestigious. I'm sure you didn't just go from karting to, okay, here one day someone asked you, come on up, take this driver's seat. So what was that? What were the building blocks like for you to get to that point, and what did it mean to you? Like, was it a pinch me moment? Were you prepared enough to be like, oh yeah, whatever, like I'm going to just kind of do my thing?
So I think I was the first driver, at least in the modern era of IndyCar racing, to go from karts to IndyCar within only 4 years. And that was extremely accelerated. Maybe in hindsight, I probably got there too quickly. But I didn't have a choice, because I was relying on the scholarship system that there is in the Road to Indy, the junior series, basically like the AA, AAA of baseball in the major league. So I had to win the championships in order to move on, because we didn't have the funding or the sponsorship to make it there in any other way. So over that 3 years, that 3-step ladder system, won a lot of money in scholarship to move on to the next level. So I didn't have that choice again to stay back and maybe really hone in on my skills on the junior level before I got to IndyCar.
Yeah.
And once I got there, I was picked up by one of the top teams in McLaren. And that was in 2020. So I was expected to perform right away. And then there's, COVID, and there's just a lot happening.
Yeah.
That's one thing. If I were to go back and change something, I would, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but
sure,
I would spend more time at the AAA level, or maybe with a team in IndyCar that wasn't expecting to challenge for race wins right away. Just so that I can get my, ground myself a little before I was really expected to win races. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What is something that you think you would go back to your 2020 self, and when you're stepping into that role? What are some things that you would tell yourself to maybe prepare for, or some things that you wish that you'd known? Because you said, you maybe went a little too fast. Like, what are some of the core principles or just lessons that needed to be learned, you think, to enable you to be successful at that level?
Probably would have trusted the process a little bit more, looking back at it, put less pressure on myself, not try so hard. I was really pushing myself both physically and mentally to a level that I hadn't experienced before. So that car was also, so that was the first year of the Halo and the aero screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cars were extremely, you can talk to any of the guys
Just
there who
unstable.
very, very hot.
Oh,
And I'm a sweater. So when
yeah.
I'm in that environment, you have, 3 layers of Nomex. You're sitting in the car, and that sweat's it's not going anywhere. It's not evaporating. And so I'm just sitting in
Pools.
a pool of hot boiling water for up to 2.5 hours, 2 hours. So it was very difficult. I would have probably started my training at a very high level, training at a very high level earlier on in my career, so that maybe I was more paced for that environment.
Yeah. What
Mm-hmm.
what does training look like? Are we talking like, mentally, physically? I know that you guys do things for um, reaction time, like just senses and stuff like that. What would that have looked like like training at such a high level?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So because racing is so expensive, over the last decade, the series has reduced the amount of testing time that we have before the first race in March. Most series start in March, and even Formula One has these rules as well.
Mm-hmm.
They don't allow teams to test for any more than 2 or 3 days
That's
before
crazy.
the season. So, and those are muscles that we have a really hard time targeting outside of the car because you
Mm-hmm.
don't have force, you don't have that violent environment that is the race car outside of the track. We just can't really find it anywhere, unless you're spending money to drive other cars in a private setting, or I did a lot of go-karting and continue to do a lot of go-karting.
Just to
Just
simulate some of that.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But there are a few gyms in Indianapolis where IndyCar was born and still is today. A lot of the teams are based there, and there are several gyms that focus solely on racing drivers. And so that's a lot of neck training, reaction, as you mentioned, heat as well.
Mm.
Training inside of a hot environment, I think definitely helps. So, and that's
Yeah.
when I found cycling as well, because that's it's targeting a similar um, heart rate and sustained
Yeah.
heart rate. So, I think those guys in IndyCar now, they're averaging 100 BPM
That's insane,
for
dude.
2 hours in a very hot environment. So you're losing so many fluids during that time. So
Yeah. Is it
mhm.
is to get to that heart rate, like for those who may not understand, like that's relatively high, especially for guys in like their, late 20s, early 30s. That's not nothing. Like it's like 60, 70% potentially, depending on the person. Is it because of, I mean, I understand the acceleration, I understand the deceleration, I understand like the tight corners, but are you tense everywhere that you need to be tense, like constantly? Because I'm trying to just understand because you're sitting down, but obviously you're working very hard. Like where is all the work coming from?
So those cars don't have power steering. The only Formula car in the world, I believe, right now that has power steering is Formula One. So IndyCar, Formula E is all mechanical steering,
Just,
um, and so you feel everything within the
wow.
wheel. It's very, very heavy. There were certain tracks. I remember specifically there's a track in Detroit, Belle Isle, where Firestone, brought a very soft red tire, a soft compound tire, grippy, combined with the tarmac that was, building grip throughout the weekend. I remember um, in the race there, I was turning the wheel. I had to slow down because I couldn't turn the wheel hard enough. Like I physically had to slow down and lift off
It's like,
the throttle or the
yeah,
brake. I could not turn it enough. So imagine holding, 50-pound, 60-pound dumbbells and trying to turn into the corner.
holy smokes, dude.
Yeah. So and then you're doing that for 2 hours.
So
So
why do the pansies at Formula One get powered steering?
because of the downforce that they have is
Just
just on
because
the
it would be impossible.
yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
impossible.
So,
So
wow.
um that's not sustained. So that's, over a few
Yeah, sure.
corners.
It's in bursts.
So you do have time. It's in bursts. You
Yeah.
do have time to on the straights, to overthink and relax your hands
Yeah.
and body and breathe. Take a few deep breaths.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of coaching now that I'm not racing, and that's something that I try and nail into the drivers that I'm with, is just to take the time on the straights to just relax.
Yeah.
For people when it's their first time, they're extremely tense, white knuckled. Their eyes are starting to drop, and you just on this, and every moment you can, you need to relax your body and take a few deep breaths. Yeah.
Mm. When you say eyes drop, you mean like eyes drop off the horizon and looking closer to in front of you?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Like it really is like a feel thing. Like you have to obviously have some skill that you built up over time, but it seems to me, is this accurate to say it's like you understand it enough to shoot from the hip and be accurate? Like, does that make sense?
No, can you explain?
Yeah, so like professional, people who really understand the gun that they've been working with for a while, I would imagine guys even in war, like unless they're a sniper, I guess. But like if you're running and gunning, like you kind of know where you need to shoot, and you can kind of shoot from the hip or kind of it's sort of there. But then for you guys, like you're saying, if you're looking really close in front of you, you're like trying to calculate all of these visual calculations within like feet in front of you versus like looking out in front of you and kind of taking it all in and kind of knowing the feel. Okay, this is when I should start to brake. This is when I should accelerate. This is when I should turn this on, turn that off. Kind
Yes.
of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, eyes are everything.
Yeah.
A lot of the people on the roads, if you pull up next to a grandma at the love our grandmas, but a lot of them have the seat, fully up on the wheel, and they're like looking in front of. They're trying to, look at their front bumper.
Mm,
Um, at speed, at any speed, you need to be looking far ahead so that you have time to react to what's about to happen.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's critical for
Yeah.
and very difficult to break that habit. So for drivers in their junior career, if they're consistently, dropping their eyes and looking too close in front of them, it's very hard to knock that out of themselves and to fix that habit. It's very difficult. And there are now simulators and training facilities that have glasses that
Watch your eyes.
can watch your eyes, and they look like red. Like looking back at the video, they look like red dots on the track. And that's one way that these junior driver facilities are trying to support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could take some of the best drivers from the past 50 years and then bring them up to modern day with the tools and the analytics that you guys have, how do you think that they would react?
It would look alien to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of technology that we have in motorsport now, on the simulation side is incredible. I still do some work for the Andretti Formula E team in England, and the weekend starts in the simulator, and a lot of what we find, setup, energy strategy, that's all copy and pasted to the race weekend. And if there's anything wrong or amiss with our homework, like that's a direct translation to their performance on the race weekend. So it's become very critical. The money saved from teams not testing before the season has gone straight to simulation, and building these. And I think the Formula One teams, it's probably $500,000 in hardware just to build the simulator.
That's crazy.
And then the monthly cost is through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Do you feel like it's good for these sports? Like I hesitate to say good because I know it's not black and white, but for example, with triathlon and cycling, I guess European cycling, there's quite a bit of money that goes into it. But really, like if you're really looking into it, the guys that are below five on the roster, they're not get paid a ton of money, and there's still a lot of money that goes into the hardware and things like that. Don't get me wrong. But then you have a sport that's like obviously much bigger audience, so the advertising dollars are there and the ticket sales are there. But Formula One, it's like, or even Formula E, you guys are spending millions of dollars on here, $1 million there, and it's like just these massive expenses that really I feel like can change the environment for like the culture of a sport and how people interact with each other as competitors, even interact with each other as like teammates. Is there a way like to kind of put your pulse on how that is, and like does money end up making the sport better or worse? Like what's your assessment on that?
That's a good question. I often wonder where it comes from because the amount spent is insane. I think for a Formula E team, a two-car team, it's a top team. It's well over 10 million a year. For Formula One, it's 150.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy, and then it's also similar in IndyCar. It's probably 15 million a year now for even a mid-tier
Wow.
team, two-car team. Yeah, there are teams that cost either makes or break. It can make or break a team. It's very difficult for those bottom tier teams to catch up. In motorsport, money equals performance, whether it's hiring the best drivers, the best engineers, the best hardware and equipment. If you don't have that funding, then you're not competing at the top. And it's a vicious cycle, definitely. And there's been a lot of talk around viewership numbers here in the US, whether it's NASCAR or IndyCar. That is a direct translation as well to how much corporate sponsorship that is available within the series. And so, Fox taking over the audience and TV with IndyCar was a big deal because they're really behind pushing the sport and the spectacle. So that's been cool to see. And everyone's kind of looking at Formula One as the perfect example right now because, Liberty Media and the companies behind, getting them to Netflix, and that has been massive for Formula One and motorsport across the board. But with social media nowadays, it's been very, very important to try and promote, and it's a big fight in itself amongst teams to get the most engagement. And I think I'm going off on a thread now.
No, I love it. Keep going.
From your question, but at the end of the day, yeah, like I said, it's money equals performance. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And
you can pay for the best driver, and that's going to get you to the end of the game, to the last hole. It's not like that. No.
Yeah, it's not. Well, I feel like too, like winning, equals the money. So it's like the amount of pressure that a driver and the team must feel, but especially driver, because they end up being, by just the way that media works, like they end up being the face of the team oftentimes. And then you have a tremendous amount of pressure because I don't know how many people are on your team or the teams that you've raced for, or the ones that you sit on reserve for, or whatever. Like, but there's a lot of people, and their jobs in a lot of ways are dependent upon how well at the end of the day you're able to control that car to do what it needs to do. So it's like, in a lot of ways, I feel like they should be the CEOs of the team. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's performance based across the board, from the drivers to the people working in PR and media, engineers. If you're not hitting your marks, it's you're out the door, and it's just a revolving door of people every single year. It's very rare that a team stays the same from year to year. I guess you can see that in corporate America as well. It's very extremely performance based. Yeah.
So two questions for you. Why do you want to do it? What drives you? And then two, where do you want to go? Like, what does success look like to you? Maybe that's changed over time, but why and where? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't raced in a few years, but I'm still involved, and I still will race again. I don't know at what capacity. So, that is continuing to be the goal. I have recently looked at other passions and avenues, career wise, whether it's looking at entrepreneurship or, I've took a few pilot lessons as well now. My
Sick.
dad and I have bonded over that for the first time, as we haven't talked about aviation at all in our lives until now. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's been cool. Um, yeah, looking at different passions and finding something outside of motorsport has been interesting for me recently. But I do see myself continuing in the motorsport industry. I hope that that involves racing a car.
Yeah.
I think I'm very good at it and continue to make it a career. Why? It's been the only thing that's really made me tick over the years. That passion I haven't been able to find anywhere else for the most part, and winning racing and winning races and experiencing that joy within the team has been a feeling that we all chase as drivers. Yeah, yeah, and finding that flow state as well. I really enjoy. So that's what continues to draw me back to the sport, and I wake up most days thinking about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then practically, like I would imagine in order to get back in the driver's seat, there's some combination, which I don't know what it is, and I'd be curious to hear your take on it. But what is the combination between like, well, this is what I can do, this is what I can hustle to get there, my performance, and then like this percentage is kind of luck. So performance, kind of knowing people, and then luck. Like what is the percentage split you think in order for that to happen? Like what needs to happen practically for you to get back in a driver's seat?
I'm not a big believer in luck, but I definitely believe in being in the right place at the right time with the right preparation. Right now, I think my avenue back to the driving seat is probably through coaching and instructing. A lot of these drivers at the club tracks across the country, they're popping up everywhere, have a lot of wealth and investment that that they want to put towards motorsport, and that oftentimes includes a co-driver. So we're looking at the sports car, the IMSA Sports Car Championship it's very common to see that happen, and then once I get my feet on the ground there, I'm confident that I can perform and stay in an industry or a series like that one. So that's how I see that going.
Yeah.
Maybe with my reserve role in Formula E as well, it could amount to getting back into the seat. So that's work on the simulator, and then I also go to the races. I'll go to at least the first 3 this year, and then if the main drivers get sick or injured, then I'm thrown in the car. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be a tough place to be in because it's like you don't want someone to get sick, but at the same time, maybe a little bit. You're probably not allowed to say that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of intrusive thoughts there, but of course I don't wish
Sure.
the worst on anybody.
Sure. So let me ask you this question. Would you rather be paid hypothetically $1 million a year to be a reserve or $50,000 a year to be racing?
To be racing, definitely. Yeah. The runway as a reserve driver can be very short, as it is in racing, but I think I can control my own destiny in the seat.
Yeah.
Aside from the reserve stuff. So
Yeah.
that's a good one. It's a good question. Yeah.
What is the entrepreneur side of you thinking about?
So I've met a lot of new friends who are in that space, who have piqued my interest in whether it's I don't know, starting my own business, or maybe even starting my own business within the
Industry.
realm of motorsport. I think that could be interesting, because I know a lot of people in the industry. So yeah, there's been a couple of ideas floating around. Yeah.
Are you afraid?
I can't see myself sitting at a desk at a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So that's off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, if I may pry a little bit and ask about some of your ideas, because like just some of the stuff you told me, I feel like, oh, I have an idea, but I don't know anything about the industry, so it's probably already been tried. But what are some of your like ideas that you have that you think might be worth exploring on the entrepreneurial bandwagon for like the industry that you find yourself in?
So I think it's a really good one, and I don't want anyone to take it. So gonna I'm gonna stay quiet on that. Aside from, yes, it involves um, exotic cars.
Okay.
That's all it involves. That's
Nice.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to bug you off there because I'm curious to know what it is now.
of course.
Um,
Yeah, at the track that I work at in Miami, it's they have a lot of garages and lofts, and I have to think it's the most concentrated um, place, definitely in Florida, maybe the U.S. of nice cars.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You got a lot of opportunity to play around
yeah,
too. And then your experience. Yeah. I feel like with what you've had the chance to experience just from the driving to doing simulators to, even the stuff you were telling me about of like sweating to death in your own, boiling in your own sweat. Like I'm wondering why they don't have nitrogen filled self filtering, throw it back in your mouth as clean filtered water systems like for these cars, but they may have some of that stuff. I don't know.
they do, but you have to get it in you um, over the first 20, 30 minutes of the race because it's literally the bladder or the camelback is sitting right next to the radiator in the car.
So it's literally a heat sink sucking all of the heat from the engine.
Yeah, if you need fluids at the end of the race, it's boiling hot water, and
Literally.
it's just to get your mouth wet. That's it.
Ugh, dude. That's
It's
crazy.
horrible.
Yeah,
It's
so
horrible. You have a mix of electrolytes or something. Like imagine that just hot and sticky. It's
yeah,
terrible.
that is terrible. Well, it's so interesting to me because I know that like you guys can lose, anywhere from 5, 10 for a longer race, probably even more pounds of like water weight. And I know it's similar for an Ironman, obviously, for over a longer period of time, but that can be like severely dangerous if you don't, because then
For
you
sure.
start losing electrolyte function. And I'm thinking of you guys going 200 miles down the straight, or more, and you're coming in and out of consciousness, or you're like, oh, I feel like I'm bonking. Like that's what a dangerous thing.
It's happened to me on several occasions. And if another driver says it hasn't, they're lying. A lot of the training that those guys do in IndyCar now is just prolonging that state of fatigue. Like it's going to come at some point, but you need to
Yeah.
prolong for as long as possible,
Yeah.
and then pacing, depending on the track, you're kind of pacing yourself as well. Knowing that that's going to happen at some point, like you're not pushing flat out, and maybe that can also help,
Yeah.
for tire life as well. So
Do you guys spend a great deal about like on race nutrition, like how? Because
yes.
you're talking about sticky stuff, but obviously it gets to a point where you can't take it in. So like, what is a pretty typical regimen? Do you guys shoot for grams per hour and a number of milligrams per liter of fluid, or
Yeah, depending on so we test ourselves for
what you
how
race?
much salt we're losing
Yeah.
in our sweat. If I remember correctly, mine was very average, and yeah, you're just drinking as much electrolytes through the day and up until the event, carb loading, hitting the macros. We'll have meals laid out for us in a meal plan
Hmm.
for the weekend, when to eat, how much to eat.
Wow.
For me,
Yeah.
that was critical to not eat too much before the races because I become so slow and fatigued, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's so interesting because the brain is so connected with the body and the ability to process things quickly. It seems so key.
definitely, yeah. And
Yeah.
my body fat is extremely low, so I don't have a lot of reserve and fat to burn. Whereas other drivers, I think that can be a strong suit,
Yeah.
um, especially on the double race weekends where you're racing on Saturday for 2 hours, then again on Sunday for 2 hours. Saturday night I'm just replenishing the fluids that I've lost, and then your stomach's full, and it's hard to find that appetite to get the calories
Yeah.
back in the body.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
I had the same going on with cycling. Like I started to lose weight because I didn't have the appetite after
Yeah.
drinking so much fluid,
Yeah.
and the Florida heat. So
Yeah. Yeah. You
yeah,
got to train the stomach, train the body in every way. That's so crazy.
yeah,
Fascinating. So, interesting to me. Also, going back a bit, you mentioned earlier, you think you feel like God has a plan kind of for everything and everyone. And,
well,
we talked about luck and you're like, yeah, I probably don't believe in that as much. It
yeah.
seems it's a bit more like providential is what I was kind of hearing a little bit in your voice. Who is God to you? Like, what is God to you?
So this has been a new discovery for me
Okay.
over the last, I'd say, 6 months or so. Um,
Cool.
just being more spiritual and surrounding myself with more spiritual people, I think has been really cool and enlightening for me. Yeah. God is everything.
He's what?
God is everything. He's
Yeah.
everyone around us. Yeah.
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 Do
Everything.
you, yeah, what has been attractive to you? Like, because you said you're trying to surround yourself with more of those people, or you have been surrounded with some of those people, and obviously there's a quality that like, you're into this, and it's. I don't ask this to like, hey, can you give me your list of fundamental beliefs and how they have shaped you and or anything like that? But like, what is attractive about it? Like, what are you learning?
So surrounding myself with people who have the values that I see for myself and my family, I think it has been attractive. There is there's sustainability in that as well, and I can see a lot of runway and happiness surrounding myself with those kinds of spiritual and holy people. So yeah, that's been a great experience over the past short amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't grow up religious at all or spiritual?
No, no. My family is Christian, and we believe in Christian values, but it was rare for us to go to church.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really anyone in my life who was pushing me in that direction.
Yeah.
Pushing is maybe the wrong word, but not enabling me to find that
Guiding, yeah, influence.
guiding me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
there was a time, again, this year, a few months ago, where all of a sudden, like, these new people that I'm meeting are Christian, and there's never been a time in my life where like it has been that obvious that okay, I need to like look in this direction and see
Hmm.
if there's anything new that I can learn about myself and the world. So
Yeah.
it's been cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're learning some new things about yourself, even outside of like the Christian aspect? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I ask what those are? What those things are?
Yeah. I think understanding maybe the habits that haven't been so good for me and enlightening me to realize that they're there and then knowing to make the change. I think it's a very bland way to
Have you
put
been
it.
media trained?
Yes, I haven't actually. I've just spent a lot of time around a microphone. I haven't had an interview like this in a long time, so it's
Yeah.
been cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I thanks for working with me on it. Yeah. No, I
Yes.
think it's good. I'll just share briefly. I did grow up Christian, and
Nice.
my parents lived a very interesting life. In that, one week it was, at least from how I observed it, one week it was like we are devout Christian. The next week it's like dad's doing drugs, and he's got a keg and drinking probably way too much alcohol in the house, and it kind of went off kind of both sides of these tangents. So as I grew up, I got to this place when I was like 21 where I was like, okay, well, what do I believe and why do I believe it? And as I went through that, similar to what you're saying, like I learned a lot about myself. And I think the biggest things for me that I realized like were probably not good for the life that I wanted to live, for like from a point of happiness and fulfillment and joy, was like, dude, I'll just say it straight up. I've been free from pornography now for in 2 weeks it'll be almost 7 months, which is like some people don't think it's bad, and that's fine if you want to think that. But in terms of like my upbringing, I was like, okay, that's destroying my life. Way too many video games. I don't think video games are inherently bad. And maybe some of them, but like that kind of stuff. So for me, like those were a few of the things that are a couple of the big things I think were like really truly holding me back. And when I started to pursue that, relationship with a God, creator of something I believe greater than myself, is when my life started to like I think have more clarity. So that's why I like pressing about that question,
Yeah.
is because it's really fun to know. Yeah,
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah,
Happy
yeah,
for you.
yeah. Thanks, man. So, what is something? I have one more kind of pretty deep question for you. So, what is something difficult that you're going through that most people don't often see?
Mm, that's a hard one. I guess it's nice for me not to have a quick answer, because
Yeah,
think my
take your
life
time.
I think my life has been pretty good, and I'm thankful. For what I have, that's a hard one. Can you repeat?
Yeah. Yeah. What is something difficult that you're going through that most people don't often see, or it could rephrase it a little bit, because it has to do with like perception of you. So maybe a better way to ask us would be like, what when people look at you, what do you think they see, and then what do you want them to see?
Well, if you look at my social media, it all looks fun and happy. I think that's pretty much the case for everyone,
Yeah.
right? We don't really share the bad parts of our life, and if you are, like, I think we all appreciate that too. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, finding. I think we're all always looking for, at least for me, like sustainable happiness, right? Finding a purpose. Um, I have been, I'm in my late 20s now, about to turn 29, and I feel that every year up until this point of my professional life has been a different journey. Like there hasn't been much stability, and I think that's something that I'm now looking for.
Mm.
Yeah, the income's been it's been fine. Um, I've kept myself busy, but like I'm not sure where I'm going to be a few years from now, right? I know where I want to be, right? But I don't know if that's going to be the case. So, um, yeah, I think that's an indirect answer to
Yeah.
that.
Well, let's pretend like again a little bit of like, well, whether you do get there or you don't get there, what do you want to feel? Like, what do you want your life to feel like when you get to that spot? And maybe you're already there, but I'm kind of assuming a little bit.
Yeah, by the time I'm 50 or 60, I want to look back and feel like I got the most out of myself. I think failure would feel like looking back and thinking, oh, like I should have done I should have done more, right? Or I should have spent my time wiser.
Yeah.
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 But there's so many distractions nowadays. It's so easy to get caught up in scrolling or
Mm.
just wasting time. And the older I get, I find that the faster it goes by. So that's a change that I think that that's good to make for yeah a lot of people right now. I think are so addicted to their screens.
Yeah.
So I don't want to look back and feel like I wasted so much time just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a scary thought for me. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay active.
No, yeah. I think that's so good, man, because yeah, the world that we're currently find ourselves in, obviously just outside of the whole whatever we see on our screens, but it's so fascinating to me that everything that we do see on our screen, we're now entering an age of time where you might pick up the phone tomorrow and it could say, mom, and you answer the phone and your mom's telling you some crazy story about how you need to do this or that she's about to die or someone's going to take her hostage. But
Yes.
now we live in a place where it's like, oh, was that actually her? Like anything that's not like physically manifested in front of us that we can touch, see, and smell, it's like, how do I know that's real? So like that's a super fascinating topic of conversation because it's like that. I feel like that's what how society would collapse is when we can no longer agree on what's real and what's not outside
Yeah.
of what we're. Hey, I'm shaking your hand, Oliver. How's it going? Yeah,
Already happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I could go on and on about that, but I'll save it for a
No,
later
you
date.
can go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it involves politics, so I'll stay out of
Yeah. Okay.
it.
Well, you're welcome to share any way you want. No judgment from me. I mean, it's a wild time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Politics and AI and not knowing what's real, I think is very scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like, okay, do you know how to garden? Do you know how to grow food? Do we have a place that we can go and do that? Like that's kind of what's becoming more and more important to me because I live in
Yeah.
Northern California just for the past year now, and we came out here to have a little adventure. My wife took this fellowship program because she's a nurse practitioner, and yeah, as the world continues on, and with the topic of what you were bringing up, time going by faster, and she's pregnant with my little daughter now, who we're just 6 months in. Yeah, thanks. It's like a lot of these things that I used to really stress over and care about. It's like, oh wow, well, what really matters? It's less and less what's on this phone, and it's more and more of like what's going on in front of me. Because it's so fascinating to me too, dude. It's like whenever we go to work now at the age that we live, we're going to work so that when we open up our phone, we see a couple of pixels that are black that show numbers. And like, that's what I'm earning. Like I'm earning numbers on the screen so that I can exchange it with these numbers on another screen to get a physical good, usually food. That's what matters most. And it's like, well, maybe I just have my relationship with the dirt and like, that's where I get all my ones and zeros. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And knowing there's a show on Netflix or a documentary that everyone should watch and continue watching, but it's it talks about the companies and Apple, Facebook, Instagram, and their whole MO is to get us to continue interacting with their products. And it's like, how can we make this as maybe this isn't what their board meetings are all about, but it's essentially what they're doing is getting us to continue to use their product and disassociate us with the real world. So, there's a reason why our phones and screens are so colorful. It's because that's what's addicting to our eyes and our subconscious. So,
what's the name of the documentary? Do you know?
I forget the name.
I'll have to go. It's not Dirty Money, is it? No.
No.
I'll have to check it out.
It'd be an easy one to Google, but
yeah, I'll look it up.
It's about social media. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, it's super interesting, man. Super interesting. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time, letting me kind of be sporadic with the interview and just ask questions as they come up. But it's been a true honor.
I enjoyed the time.
Thanks, man. Well, I do have just one final question for you, actually. As like a piece of advice for any youngster who is looking to go and be a professional race car driver, what would you tell them but as they embark upon that journey?
Yeah, I've had that question before, and for me, it's an easy one. There's a two-part answer. One, have as much fun as you can and enjoy the process, and two, it's so important to network and meet the right people and make good first impressions. It's a business at the end of the day, and it takes a lot of money to achieve those goals and make it to the top of the sport. You're not going to do it by yourself. Just be as professional as possible and grow up quickly. I think that's
grow up quickly.
Quickly, yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel
most of these kids are starting? I was a little bit late to the game. I think my first car race, I was like 17 or 18. That's late nowadays. So, these kids are starting to race formula cars at 13 or 14.
Yeah. Crazy.
So
pretty soon it's gonna be 8 and 9.
It's a sport that forces you to grow up quickly. Yeah. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much. I'll have to have you on again. Maybe we can dive into some of those topics a little bit more. But again, thank you so much. You too, man.
Thanks.
Thanks so much to Oliver coming on for coming on the podcast. Really good interview. Really appreciated getting to cover a new sport. But at the end of the day, really, every person I've ever interviewed, people are people. And that continues to shine through. And I love having deep conversations with people. So thank you guys for being here to listen to that. Thank you to Oliver again for coming on. And it's really cool. Like, he said something that stuck with me that I'd like to have a future episode on. And that was, with race car driving, he was saying that it forces you to grow up a little bit. And that's something I want to dive into more because I guess forcing is a tough word for me because with my history and background, losing dad at 16, I felt like it forced me in a lot of ways to grow up really fast or kind of robbed me of my childhood. So I'm very protective about people getting to experience their childhoodness in full. So I'm curious to ask him what he meant by that and go a little bit deeper. So if you are also looking forward to that, let me know in the comments and we'll try to have him on here sooner rather than later. But it's coming up to the end of the year very fast, and I cannot even believe it. Episode 200 is going to come out, and I'm probably going to have a few more episodes to kind of slow release throughout the break as I take a break over the holidays. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I've rambled long enough. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. Thanks again to Oliver, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.